Welcome back to Bedtime Stories in 10 Minutes. Today we're diving into the classic and beloved novel Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. It's the heartwarming story of an imaginative orphan girl named Anne Shirley who brings joy and transformation to the quiet world of Green Gables. We'll explore all the charming and emotional moments of this unforgettable tale. So, let's begin. Our story begins at Green Gables, the home of Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert, a brother and sister who have spent their whole lives living on their farm in the sleepy village of Avonlea, Prince Edward Island. The two have decided to adopt a boy from an orphanage to help Matthew with the farm work, as his advancing age and health issues have made it harder for him to manage alone. Matthew sets out to pick up the boy at the train station, but when he arrives, much to his surprise, it's not a boy waiting for him, but a chatty, red-haired girl named Anne Shirley. Anne is thrilled to meet Matthew and fills the silent carriage ride back to Green Gables with endless chatter. She tells Matthew all about her imagination, her love for names, and how she dreams of belonging somewhere, even though she was expecting to be adopted by a boy's family.
I've dreamed of being adopted all my life, and Green Gables sounds like a perfect place for me.
Matthew, though shy and uncomfortable with strangers, is taken by Anne's charm and spunky nature, but he knows Marilla will be far from pleased with the mix-up. When Matthew returns with Anne, Marilla is indeed shocked and horrified. This was not the child she requested. Practical and no-nonsense, Marilla tells Anne they'll need to send her back to the orphanage to correct the mistake.
There's been a mistake. We asked for a boy, not a girl.
Anne is heartbroken, but she tries to make the best of it, even as Marilla insists on finding out how such an error could occur. That night, Anne stays at Green Gables in a small, plain room, far less grand than the romantic setting she had imagined.
I'll pretend this room is a palace, and the cherry tree outside is the Snow Queen.
Despite her sorrow, Anne's imagination gives her the strength to endure this latest disappointment. The next morning, over breakfast, Anne tells Marilla and Matthew about her difficult life. Orphaned as a baby, she was sent to live with various families, each treating her poorly, until she ended up in an orphanage. Despite these hardships, Anne's imagination remained her refuge. Listening to Anne's story softens Marilla's heart, though she remains firm about sending Anne back.
I've never had a real home. I've always dreamed of one.
Over the next few days, Marilla watches Anne closely. Though Anne is often prone to daydreaming and mishaps, her kindness and intelligence become apparent. Marilla begins to waver in her decision, especially when Matthew insists he'd like to keep Anne. Marilla eventually decides to give Anne a chance by keeping her on a trial basis. As Anne settles into life at Green Gables, she explores the beautiful countryside surrounding Avonlea. She names landmarks like the Lake of Shining Waters. The nearby woods become the Haunted Wood, and she transforms ordinary moments into grand adventures. With each passing day, Anne's influence on Green Gables grows. Marilla's stern exterior starts to crack, and even though Anne continues to get into small scrapes, Marilla sees the depth of Anne's character. One day, Marilla introduces Anne to Diana Barry, a girl who lives next door. Anne immediately declares Diana her bosom friend, a term she uses to describe the kind of lifelong friendship she's always dreamed of.
Excitedly, we'll be best friends forever, Diana. Sound of children giggling.
Anne and Diana's friendship blossoms quickly. They explore the countryside, play imaginative games, and share secrets. Diana, though not as fanciful as Anne, is a kind and loyal friend, and the two girls are soon inseparable. Their bond becomes one of the most significant and enduring relationships in Anne's life. Anne begins attending the local school in Avonlea, where she encounters new friends and a future academic rival, Gilbert Blythe. Anne's fiery temper gets the best of her when Gilbert teases her by calling her carrots because of her red hair.
Playfully, "Hey carrots, sound of a classroom."
In a fit of anger, Anne smashes a slate over Gilbert's head. This act of defiance marks the beginning of their long-standing rivalry. Despite Gilbert's attempts to apologize, Anne stubbornly refuses to forgive him. From then on, she vows never to speak to him again, even though she secretly admires his intelligence. One of Anne's most memorable mishaps involves an innocent afternoon tea with Diana. Anne, eager to impress her friend, serves what she believes is raspberry cordial. However, it turns out to be currant wine, and Diana becomes intoxicated. Sound of glasses clinking, Mrs. Barry is outraged when she finds out, believing Anne has purposely given her daughter alcohol. She forbids Diana from seeing Anne again, leaving Anne devastated. This incident nearly ruins their friendship, and Anne is heartbroken by the misunderstanding. Anne gets a chance to redeem herself when Diana's younger sister, Minnie May, falls dangerously ill with croup. In the middle of the night, Anne is called to help, and her knowledge of treating croup saves Minnie May's life. Mrs. Barry, grateful for Anne's quick thinking and courage, forgives her and allows Diana and Anne to be friends again. This episode not only repairs Anne's relationship with the Barrys, but also cements her role as a valued and resourceful member of the community. As Anne continues to thrive in Avonlea, she excels at school, especially in her academic rivalry with Gilbert. Their competition pushes Anne to new heights, and she sets her sights on attending Queen's Academy, a prestigious institution where she can earn her teaching certificate. With the encouragement of Marilla and Matthew, Anne dedicates herself to her studies. Winning a scholarship becomes her ultimate goal, and she dreams of becoming a teacher or writer. Tragedy strikes Green Gables when Matthew dies suddenly of a heart attack. His death leaves Anne and Marilla devastated. Matthew had been the silent, loving father figure Anne always needed, and his loss is a tremendous blow to Anne's sense of security and happiness. Marilla, too, struggles with her grief, and the weight of running Green Gables becomes overwhelming as she reveals that she is losing her eyesight. With Matthew gone, Anne knows that life will never be the same. In the wake of Matthew's death, Anne faces a difficult decision. She has been offered a scholarship to attend Redmond College, but Marilla's declining health means she may no longer be able to keep up with the farm. In a moment of maturity and selflessness, Anne decides to give up her scholarship to stay at Green Gables and take care of Marilla. In a surprising act of generosity, Gilbert Blythe gives up his teaching post at the local school so Anne can stay in Avonlea and work close to home. This gesture marks the beginning of a new friendship between Anne and Gilbert, as they finally put aside their differences. Anne's decision reflects her growth from an impulsive, imaginative girl into a thoughtful young woman. Conclusion: Anne of Green Gables is a story of growth, resilience, and the power of imagination. From her rocky start as an unwanted orphan to her place as a beloved member of the Avonlea community, Anne's journey is filled with laughter, heartache, and hope. Through her experiences, Anne learns valuable lessons about friendship, family, and forgiveness. Thank you for joining us for this story on Bedtime Stories in 10 Minutes. See you next time.